Look, I think I'm not gonna surprise you by saying that Marvel Cinematic Universe hasn't been what it used to be for a long time now. Since the beginning of Phase 4, we were introduced to a bunch of new characters that weren't as appealing as the old ones were, leading to lack of interest towards development of their stories. Plus, the new projects on the whole, both movies and Disney Plus shows, suffered from severe issues such as terrible writing, unfinished visual effects, and most importantly, the multiverse concept that completely wiped the fear for characters' lives, because each dead character can now be easily replaced by the same one using time travel, or by a different version of him from another dimension. What is more, it caused lots of confusion about how all the movies and shows are gonna shape up into an overall picture, compared to a pretty clear path that we had from the first Avengers to Avengers Endgame. As a result, MCU is in a major decline, with almost every movie of theirs having a hard time breaking even or being a straight-up flop in the box office, receiving unsatisfying reviews both from professional critics and regular viewers, with only one of them being a true smash hit of a success where Multiverse actually worked pretty good for the story. Yeah, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And the TV shows didn't have a good time either, having low or even rock bottom view count and awful ratings. And that leads us to the Marvels, another addition to the sinking ship of a franchise. So is this a movie with the same set of issues serving as one of many other nails in MCU's coffin, or is it something different? Something that is capable of dragging the interest back towards its future projects? You're watching The Cinema Resident, let's get into it. Right, here's a quick question. How about you drop a like to this video right now so you won't forget to do that after you watched it? Don't be persuasive here, just a friendly reminder. Oh, and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. It would significantly help the channel grow and I would really appreciate it. Now back to The Marvels. The Marvels is the 33rd MCU film which takes place shortly after the events of Ms. Marvel. Right, about that. So this movie is a continuation of at least 3 projects. Captain Marvel, where we're introduced to Carol Danvers, WandaVision, where we see Monica Rambeau obtaining her powers, and Ms. Marvel, which is the debut of Kamala Khan. Now I'm highly confident that you watched Captain Marvel, cause you know, a movie that was released right between 2 most anticipated films in the whole MCU, so it managed to earn over $1 billion in the box office. Yeah, you watched it, but I'm not sure you watched the shows though. So your question will probably sound like that. Do I really have to watch both of the TV shows just to get acquainted with the characters and understand what's going on in the movie? Well, actually no, you're pretty much good with skipping them. The Marvels takes around 4 minutes of its runtime for the characters to introduce themselves, quickly describe what is it that they do and how they got their powers.
You can absorb light. I can see it. And Kamala...
Who's Kamala?
Hi. She can turn light into physical matter, which I have never heard of.
I could totally show you.
No!
But anyway, what about the plot? Let's ask IMDb to give us a brief summary, shall we? Carol Danvers gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe. And that's pretty much it. Both Carol and Monica come across strange glowing wormholes in space just to get in contact with an unknown matter, while Kamala simply shakes her bangle because it was glowing weirdly, and basically that's how their first place swap happened.
What is happening to me?
This leads the characters to Dar-Benn, who is responsible for the anomalous wormholes mentioned earlier. Dar-Benn is a new emperor of the Kree Empire who is desperate to save her home planet Hala and seeks revenge against Captain Marvel for something she did in the past. The best way she sees in putting ticks to both of these big tasks is to destroy a couple of planets that Carol Danvers has a connection to by acquiring resources that are vital to their functioning and bringing them to Hala. So yeah, this is yet another story about saving the entire universe, and yeah, this is another villain driven mostly by vengeance.
You took everything from me. And now I'm returning the favor.
This kind of approach towards the plot and the motivation for the antagonist instantly kills already lifeless seeds of interest for the film, because there is nothing interesting in watching the development of a story you've seen hundreds of times before. Same can as well be said about the climax. I'm not gonna spoil anything here, but do you really believe that there's a slight chance that this evil Kree lady is going to destroy the entire world? Of course not, all of these movies have an identical happy ending. But unlike other films with the same narrative, The Marvels' pretty much simple story still feels underdeveloped. The movie jumps back and forth between serious and comedic like it still hasn't figured out its tone yet, and the main conflict resolves in a pretty lazy and underwritten way. All of that leaves a strong sense of disinvestment into everything that is happening on screen. The plot is a direct replica of every other Marvel Saving the World movie that brings nothing different and refreshing to the genre, and the whole wacky and silly vibe kills every chance for you to really believe how high the stakes are in the movie, because most of the actions that the characters do are stupid and laughable.
I can't. Can you?
I got it.
I don't feel like I have much to say about the characters themselves. Well, there is Carol Danvers that hasn't changed one bit from 2019's Captain Marvel. Her face doesn't really portray any strong emotions. She's yet again incredibly overpowered with no weaknesses whatsoever. There is Monica Rambeau, who is a little bit more lively in terms of expressing emotion and who has a serious personal conflict with Danvers. And there's Kamala Khan, who in my opinion stole the freaking show here. Iman Vellani did a superb job in delivering this specific over-the-moon vibe as she teams up with her favorite hero and how she tries doing her best in order to impress Captain Marvel. It was fun watching how she reacts to everything that happens to her for the first time, like first time seeing her idol Captain Marvel or first time going to space in different planets. Always there to assist and cheer everyone up, Kamala is a bright spark that brings lots of life to the film while interacting with everyone, especially the rest of the trio.
We're a team.
Oh, no, we're not a team.
We're not a team.
All three make a somewhat alright team, yet each of them barely has any character arc to undergo, which could have resulted in specific changes in terms of personality, beliefs, or actions. Kamala, Monica, and Carol in the beginning are the same Kamala, Monica, and Carol in the end. Nothing in the events of the movie caused changes to any of them. Not much can be said about Dar-Benn, not only because the majority of stuff about her was mentioned already, but also because she's underdeveloped big time. There are some subtle signs indicating she might not be as one-dimensional as she seems, yet there is no background to her that is necessary in understanding the character and the actions she does. There is no build-up that would depict how she became what she is, and of course there is nothing that could make you sympathize or understand her. Overall, this is yet another shallow and forgettable villain that the characters, two of which are kind of shallow as well, must deal with. There's also Nick Fury and, oh boy, the transformation he went through in Phase 4 really makes me sad. He went from a guy that meant business to something like a weird uncle, telling silly jokes here and there no matter how good or horrendous the circumstances are, and acting pretty much the same silly way. I mean, come on, he literally went from this
Window integrity 1%. Now!
to this.
Monica, you gotta fly.
No.
Black girl magic. Who's a good kitty goose?
Thank you for trashing another character from the original crew, Marvel. During post-production, the Marvels was undergoing a massive overhaul and reshoots in order to make the story more coherent, resulting in its release date being postponed 4 times, which on one hand allowed for more time with visual effects, which I personally wasn't worried about in the MCU project up until Phase 4, when everyone saw Black Widow, Thor: Love and Thunder, and several Disney Plus shows. On the other hand, all the reshoots and delays resulted in an enormous $270 million budget, whereas originally was intended to cost only $130 million, turning out to be the least expensive MCU movie to make. However, now The Marvels is the most expensive non-Avenger movie and the 4th most expensive movie in the whole MCU, and that is with having the shortest runtime compared to all the predecessors, being only 1 hour and 45 minutes long. This means that the film needs to earn at least somewhere around $500 million just to break even, and that's not even considering costs for promotion. So The Marvels, led by 3 new and unpopular characters, with the most expensive budget excluding crossover films, being released at the time when people are kind of fed up with the superhero genre. You already see it coming, right? According to the reports, The Marvels is headed for the worst opening weekend ever for the MCU, making even less money than The Incredible Hulk in 2008, way before everyone knew what Marvel is. Hell, even I noticed it. I haven't missed a single MCU movie in the cinema since 2016, and that was the first time I saw that there are literally 20 people watching it beside me in IMAX, compared to huge crowds filling movie theaters during premieres before.
I'm asking for one last fight.
Despite having the first hint of the next generation Avengers build-up, The Marvels barely impacts their overall narrative with its events. This is yet another showdown somewhere far in space that doesn't have any big consequences. There is only one post-credit scene which I gotta say is absolutely jaw-dropping, by which we can finally understand where all of this is going, but let's not consider a tiny scene at the end to tell if the whole movie that came before it really sets any direction further. In summary, feeling really weak in terms of the story it presented, with the characters being pretty much forgettable, The Marvels is the definition of the current Marvel Cinematic Universe failing to follow in the footsteps of its former glory. Once its releases were considered an event, now nobody cares. this seems like a pretty solid nail in the coffin to me. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you found it interesting, entertaining, or helpful, then be sure to drop a like and definitely consider subscribing to watch more reviews on the films such as David Fincher's The Killer that I'll be reviewing next time. God, I can't wait to see Michael Fassbender's return to the movies. And tell me what you think about the Marvels, how it was for you and whether you agree with all my thoughts towards it. I would really love reading all of that in the comments. So again, thanks for watching. Catch me next time I watch something.